we can see that the global spread of REITs is such that North America is by far, and particularly the US, Canada has REITs, but they're not as significant. North America is by far the most significant, followed by Asia and followed by Europe. Now, the point I mentioned earlier in terms of REITs for the EPRA Global Index, and that's developed plus emerging, it's important to understand that REITs represent about 3/4, about 75%. Why does that mean anything and how is that relevant? Well, the point is that if you want to invest in listed real estate in the US, 99% of the companies you invest in will be REITs. So there the REIT structure is well established. If you want to invest in listed real estate in Europe, the majority of the companies will be REITs. All the leading companies in the UK, in France, in Spain, Netherlands will be REITs. There's one company I've missed out in Europe for a very good reason there, and that is Germany. And in Germany, the most significant companies are the German residential companies, Vonovia, Deutsche Wohnen, etc., and they are not REITs. So that's why it's important for you to understand the difference between REITs and non-REITs. In Germany, Vonovia, which went from nowhere in 2013 to the 6th biggest property company in the world in 2019, is not a REIT, and there's a good reason for that. And then if we go to Asia, the important point to remember about Asia, they have quite a different structure. In Asia, the structure is that you have separate developers and separate REITs. In the UK, Australia, UK, etc., developers are all as one within a REIT. Typically, a REIT can develop, albeit there's some constraints on that. But effectively, Landsec, Simon Property, Unibail, they all have a development program, Derwent London, and they're all REITs. In the case of Asia, typically in Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia in particular, you have separate development companies which develop, and then they have a sister company, which is a REIT, which is purely a passive vehicle. So what I want to explain here is REITs are all over the world, and that's very significant, but they're not all the same structure. In Asia, you have a slightly different parallel structure than you do in the UK, Europe, Australia, and the US. So the next key point is what sectors can you actually invest in? And this is one of the very interesting things about REITs and the listed real estate sector in general. And that is that you have a very wide range of options available to you in terms of sector specialization. Now, it was the case that a lot of companies used to be diversified. But now it's very much more the case that companies tend to be highly specialized. What do I mean by highly specialized? I mean that more than 75% of their assets are in one single sector. That could be industrial, it could be retail, it could be offices, etc. Why is that important? That's important because if you're an asset allocator, it means that you can choose to have US residential combined with US residential and combined with German offices, combined with UK offices, combined with European industrial and UK healthcare, as an example, as your portfolio mix. So it gives you a huge advantage in terms of being able to tailor your portfolio requirements in a listed format to those sectors. The next and final point on this page that I'd like to talk about is the fact of the growth of those sectors down towards the bottom. So the growth of things like residential, healthcare, self-storage. I can also add data centers, what we call the alternative sectors. And these are sectors which have become incredibly important and popular with investors in the last few years. And the listed sector reacts way in advance of the direct market. And actually you can see that these companies are very popular, gain a lot of traction on market cap, are able to raise a lot of money and grow very rapidly. So what you find is that within the listed sector, you get a good exposure to the alternative sectors.